Okay, I'm back. So currently we're going to start the combination, but before we start, I would like to mention a few things. Number one, each of these code 1 and code 2, they do actually have a name. If you look at the box, they are code 1 is called mole, because I assume because it has a drill, and then code 2 is called groundhog. So and just wanted to mention that for those who are curious, if they actually have like a unit name. And then number 2 is that these wheels on the bottom are actually rollable, so they do actually move. For code 1 it definitely works, but for code 2 this may not be workable, because these treads are not real treads. The only wheel is on this back section here, so it may roll less compared to like this. Although it really depends on the surface, because if you put it on like a surface like this part, it's not really gonna roll. So yeah. Alright, so usually you don't need to start at the cube. I think it's much more easier to start at this section right over here. So I think we're going to use ground 2 first. So what I like to do is basically push this section here. I don't think this is really mentioned in the manual that well, but still it's there. And then you just you're pretty much almost done with the leg. So number 1, you just fold back the claw inside as it was. Like that, and then you put this section here, and this actually becomes the feet. So you do the same thing for the chainsaw. You put it back inside, make it as flat as possible, and then fold it up to make the other feet. And I think you can see where this is going. So pretty much this part here is actually a swivel. You can move around. Here's another attachment here, so you just need to do this and do this, and you already have the leg done. Of course, if there's one thing you need to do, one more thing, is that there's a peg here, and you just need to release the peg. Now I believe the manual does tell you to basically do something like this, and I don't really like the looks of it. So here, and this time for the transformation for the Landbreaker, I'm just gonna do it my preferred way as well, because especially there are some aspects or areas on the manual that I personally don't like. So yeah, but it still works the same. So you're done with the bottom section. For the top section, yeah, it's slightly less easy, but still manageable. So I would like to put these wheels or slash treads, but like in this position on each side. Ooh, there we go. And then what you need to do is just, for now, we're gonna move it up here. We have another moving point right over here, and then another moving point right over here, and then here we have the head. So you want to move the head of the Landbreaker. You need to rotate it like this, and then put it on top. That's how it works. And then you have a antenna, which I think I may have forgot to put this up on my pictures, but still, oh well. And then what you do is that this is not the hole for the Landbreaker. This is actually for the other vehicle form, but still, this is what you do. You basically put it like this. And what I like to do is put the backpack or something in this position right over here, and then basically make the wheels look like this. Or you can pretty much put it anywhere, any position you want to do. So I do sometimes do this some other way around time to time. So yeah. Or sometimes like yeah, I think this is the best way for me to do so. Now the problem is that nothing really locks into place, and there is like a slight small gap around here between the back, and you can see there's like a small gap right over here. So this may feel a little bit awkward time to time, but still it works. And the arms is pretty easy. You see these sections right over here, they're going to move outwards, and then you're going to rotate it 180 degrees. And yeah, that does not sound good. You are able to take these out like normal pegs, and I did kind of sand them down a little bit, but it was much more louder. But it did get better, so I might need to sand it a little bit more. So I'm just gonna put those back in, and it's really painful to hear. And we're gonna move the arms like that, and same goes for the other arm like that. Of course, for the drill, I like to put it in this section so you can still see the word drill from the outside section. And you're pretty much done with the upper body. So this is the place where you plug the peg inside, and there we go. You have the completed Landbreaker. Definitely, I really do like the looks of this. At first, because of the color scheme and overall looks, I was kind of confused with a different mech, but apparently, luckily, I was confused, and this is a original design mech as far as I know. So before we go on to any articulation, I want to just mention that the size comparison was a typical HG kit. So I would like to mention that this is much taller than a typical HG kit. So it does definitely have some size to it. So yeah, it does have a good feeling. Alright, so let's go over some articulation. So the articulation, this is actually pretty better than I thought. So we're going from top to bottom. So as usual, let's go with the head first. So the head, I'm not really sure this should be considered as articulation, but still, the head, this is the main camera. As far as I know, you can go down and up pretty well. It's pretty much on a, of course, the problem is moving the head side to side. So as you saw, you have to rotate this section around to put the head in this position. So using that rotation, you can move the head slightly side to side if you want to do so. But of course, moving the head like that does kind of affect the backpack. So yeah, and I believe like the backpack, depending on how you read the manual, it may turn out very different. But still, yeah, I've seen other people to improve this section, so they move the backpack a little bit down like that, but still that doesn't really look that good to me. So yeah. Alright, the cockpit is still open, so you do still get a slight movement on the head, but not as much as you think. Now the shoulders, now you would think this part would actually like rotate around, but that's not how the design works actually, so don't force it. So the shoulder articulation is very good. You can go forward 90 degrees up front and to the side, not so much to the back, but still there's pretty much a reason for that. And then your 360 twist, oh, that is painful to hear. And then another 360 twist on the bottom section right over here. And then bend wise, I think it's less than a 90-degree bend, but still it's pretty much enough for such a for such type of mechs. And then you have a claw that actually moves up and that opens up and closes up, so pretty cool. Oh, that's painful to hear. And then for the other arm, it's pretty much the same, but instead of a claw, you have a drill module right over here, and it looks like you can take it off, but I'm not really used to these type of connections. I believe for those who are into Transformers toy collecting, I believe these type of connections are pretty common, so I've seen people take off these type of stuff. Okay, now actually, now look at the body articulation. Now the body articulation might be a little bit unstable to some people, but still, because of how the peg connects, we have a full 360 twist on the body, and then we have a ab crunch. Of course, this is actually possible due to the fact that the peg is actually able to move on the bottom. So yeah, I think this is moving thanks to the actual peg. And then looking at the legs, now the waist section is pretty much the Code 2, so there's not much articulation to show on the waist itself, but still for the legs we have a nice side swivel going on here, and you are actually able to take off the legs like the arms, so definitely you can modify this. If you have multiple of this, you can modify like as much as you want to do so. Okay, so for the legs, as a side swivel, you can go forward about 90 degrees, or depending on how you like move the position, you might be able to go a little bit more, but that looks a little bit ridiculous, but still about 90 degrees to the front. And we have a bending point run right over here and then here because of how the leg works. So once again, a double jointed bend going on here, I guess that would count. And one of my biggest concern regarding this product was that the feet, because the pictures didn't really show it that well. It definitely looks like it doesn't have a ankle tilt or a pivot, but luckily there's actually another moving point here if you saw the transformation, so we actually get a very nice good pivot going on here. Very nice pivot actually. Of course, like I'm not sure if this is supposed to be counted as a toe bend, but we get, you can fold this section up. Of course, that's due to the transformation of the cubes. And that's pretty much it for the articulation. It's a very, other than the head, I say every articulation that's on this mech or on the Landbreaker is superb. And keep in mind, this is just the way how I do it. Depending on the person or the user, you can pretty much modify this or make this into your own style as much as you want to do so. And if you have multiple of these, I can't imagine what other people could pull off. Alright, so here was the Landbreaker mode, and I'll be right back to change this into its other vehicle form. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the second version or the second mode of the combination. So this is more of a vehicle mode. So what happens is basically that the Code 1 goes in the front and then Code 2 goes on the back, and you basically fold them out in the correct position, and you have this vehicle mode. Well, I'm not sure what to call this vehicle mode, but it's definitely looking much more longer, and this is something that I say has much more potential, because once again, this is just one format. As I mentioned on the manual, there's like, if you can pretty much take off the arms, you can swap off the arms and legs of each Code 1 and Code 10, you can swap them up and then make your own combination like this. You can make this even more bigger, like construction vehicle, or this, which I'm not really sure what's going on here, but still, I can really imagine like if certain people buying like multiple of these and having much fun with this. One thing I forgot to mention is that this is something I keep doing it as a habit. Is number one is that the peg is pretty solid, so you don't need to worry about them falling off easily. Number two is when I was showing the vehicle form of Code 2 is that I just left the wheels like these or treads like these, but you are also able to extend them out to make them look more natural if you wanted to do so. So that's one thing. And that's pretty much it for the review. So this was the 52 Toys Landbreaker. I believe the Big Bad Toy Store is still taking pre-orders for these as far as I know, but still it's a very good product and I really want other people to try it out as well. It's a very fun product, so do check it out. Hopefully my review was helpful. If there's any questions regarding this regarding the Landbreaker or any of its other modes, do let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching the review. This was the review of the Landbreaker from 52 Toys. If you guys got any questions or requests, leave a comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.